There's a saying that adoption happens slowly, then all at once. And there are a lot of signs that the all at once phase is beginning for stablecoins. In this video, I'm going to break down how major players like Stripe, Visa, Mastercard, and Robinhood are getting into the stablecoin game and some different strategies for investing in that growth. Now let's get into it. There's a ton of signs that stablecoins are poised to go mainstream. So to start, let's run through some of the recent news. First, we have Stripe last week announcing stablecoin financial accounts. You'll be able to hold stablecoin balances, send and receive funds with either fiat or crypto rails. So this is huge. Internet finance is basically built on Stripe as is. And now people who use Stripe will have access to stablecoins in over 100 countries. Personally, I'm excited for this because I have a newsletter. People subscribe to it using Stripe, and I would love for them to be able to subscribe using crypto. But that's not all. That's just the first piece of news. We also have Ramp and Stripe partnering to create stablecoin backed cards. This is going to reduce the friction off-ramping crypto, where it'll be much easier to actually spend those stablecoins, spend that crypto in your day-to-day life. There's a lot of things I do personally where I receive payments in stablecoins. So again, as someone who's in the crypto industry, I think this is huge. And I think this makes it easier for stablecoin based applications to go mainstream because again, you no longer have that friction of having to off-ramp in order to spend your crypto. Then we've got Mastercard. So I'm just going to keep running through the news to start, and then we'll talk about what it all means. We've got Mastercard a few weeks ago unveiling end-to-end capabilities to power stablecoin transactions. This is on their website, so it sounds like a press release because it is. But yeah, so Mastercard is partnering with crypto native companies to allow consumers to easily enter crypto ecosystems, earn, pay, and spend stablecoins in their crypto wallets via traditional cards at over 150 million merchant locations accepting Mastercard globally. Again, reducing the friction to offboard from crypto. Visa is getting in the game too. Visa is pursuing stablecoins for cross-border payments. This is from last week. They're setting up partnerships and innovating beyond the scenes to develop stablecoins for cross-border usage. And why does this matter so much? And by the way, I'm not even done with the news yet. There's even more. Why does this matter so much though? Because first off, you have less friction now actually going from the off-chain economy or the on-chain economy to the off-chain economy. And eventually those two things are going to become increasingly synergized. But also the more you have these major institutions, these major companies getting involved in crypto, the less existential risk there is that regulation kills things down the line. Right now, the US has favorable crypto regulatory regime. That may not stay the case forever, but even if it changes in 4, 5 years, however long, I think that at that point, probably these things will be so ingrained in the system that it would be unfeasible to get rid of them. But let's keep talking about some of the other news because that's not all. We've got Meta, according to 5 sources, is now in discussions with crypto firms to introduce stablecoins as a means to manage payouts. So you've not only got the actual payment rails, payment processors, you've now also got probably the largest social media company in the world. I don't have the stats on that, but I would guess the largest social media company in the world is now talking about introducing stablecoin payments, which introduces another way for people to actually distribute and use the stablecoins. And it makes sense why they might do that because people might want to send microtransactions to friends anywhere in the world, and having to deal with the usual cross-border friction is going to be not ideal, not to mention the credit card fees that come with it. And then you've got Robinhood. So this news is a little bit older, but it's still from the past few months. Robinhood is now using stablecoins to power its weekend settlements. So one benefit of crypto is that it's 24/7, unlike most of finance. And so Robinhood, to settle things off hours, is now using stablecoins. And that's a great example of something where they're using it not because of speculation, but because of the technology. And then on top of all of this, you now have the US Treasury going in heavy on crypto. This is from the TBAC. That's the Treasury Borrowing Advisory Committee. And they put out this detailed report on stablecoins, which they're calling digital money here. And I honestly think they did a pretty good job breaking down all of the different subsectors of the stablecoin sector. They classify things that earn yield as tokenized money market funds, which I truthfully think is actually a fair distinction. One benefit of crypto is that it makes it easier to actually utilize those tokenized money market funds in transactions or do more with them than simply just hold them in a locked account. But the thing that I want to highlight here is that their projections are, and this is again from a committee within the US Treasury Department, their projections are that the stablecoin market cap will grow from $234 billion to $2 trillion by 2028. 7x rise. So now you've got actual government bodies forecasting this rise, and even more crucially, they talk about it in the report as not just a thing that's happening, but as something that they actively want to happen because they see it as a source of potentially up to $900 billion of incremental buys on US Treasury bills. And if that were to happen, that would be, and you can think about it and it makes sense why that would happen, because basically what stablecoins are doing here is they're giving people who normally would not use the US dollar, they would use their local currency. Instead, they get access to the US dollar, which despite all of its faults is still stronger than many, many currencies around the world. And in many cases, it's easier to transact if you're sending money across borders. It's more widely accepted, et cetera, et cetera. So to recap, you've got Visa, Mastercard, Stripe, Robinhood, Meta, aka Facebook, and the Treasury Borrowing Advisory Committee, all suddenly becoming very interested in stablecoins, launching stablecoin products, and so on. Like I said at the start of the video, I think there's a lot of signs that the all-at-once phase is starting to happen, right? Suddenly all of these financial institutions, all of these payment processors, all these social media apps are suddenly realizing that stablecoin rails are going to be crucial in the years to come, and they're now rushing in to get a piece of the pie. And let's look at the numbers behind it, right? What do the numbers say? Well, if you look at the total stablecoin supply, we can go back to, let's say, the start of 2024. It was around $130 billion at the time. Still pretty substantial, right? Fast forward to today, it's around $243 billion. So that's growth of $113 billion in just a year. And the vast majority of this, it's not like Terra, it's not UST, you might remember from a few years ago where it was algorithmic. The vast majority of this is actually backed by fiat. So let's remove crypto backing, even though that's still legitimate, but let's just say fiat-backed stablecoins have grown since the start of 2024 from around 122 billion to 224.6 billion. So you do the math on that, it is still over $100 billion of growth has come, and that's real money entering the crypto ecosystem. Most of these are backed either by dollars or they're backed by treasury bills. It's real money that's actually entering the on-chain ecosystem, either because people are using stablecoins, they want to hold stablecoins to have access to dollars, or just because there's more money flowing around in the on-chain ecosystem in general. And that's all well and good if you like to track trends in technology, and definitely I think stablecoins are one that you're going to want to pay attention to in the coming years. However, I know that most people who follow crypto and DeFi do so because they're looking for investment opportunities. And before I go further, I want to remind you, nothing I say is financial advice. I'm not advocating investments. However, what I am going to do is I'm going to break down a few different strategies that one could take to get exposure to this growing asset class and market. All right, let's get into that. So to start, if we look at the growth of stablecoins, the simplest way you could get exposure would be to look at what the largest stablecoins are, and then ask yourself, okay, can I invest in the person issuing them? And it turns out that issuing stablecoins is a big business. The biggest two by far are Tether and USDC. Now, unfortunately, there's no way to invest in Tether right now, at least not if you're a normal person like me and most of the viewers of this channel, which is a shame because they're one of the most profitable companies per employee in the world. Second is USDC. So USDC, issued by Circle, is the second largest stablecoin with nearly $61 billion issued. Now, Circle, there's no way to invest in it directly right now. However, they did recently, back in April, file for an IPO. So they will become public at some point in probably the near future. And once that happens, you would be able to invest in Circle. However, even if you want to invest sooner, if you want to invest in USDC sooner, or maybe even once Circle IPOs, this may be an interesting strategy. You could also invest in Coinbase. And the reason why is that Circle has a partnership with Coinbase. Here it is in the collaboration with Coinbase section of their SEC filing. And they talk about it here. And Coinbase provides distribution for USDC, and in exchange, they receive 50% of the remaining payment base, aka ecosystem economics. And there are actually scenarios here where Coinbase could be making as much or more profit from USDC than Circle itself. And the problem with this is that Coinbase also has a lot of other aspects of their ecosystem and revenue. So really, if you're investing in Coinbase, you're investing in the exchange, and then Circle USDC may be a small part of that. However, you are still getting exposure to some upside if USDC and stablecoins really do see that 7x upside that the TBAC forecasted. And I think it's going to go beyond that, by the way. I think I could see it going to $3-5 trillion plus. If that happens, then Coinbase is positioned to benefit. All right, but let's keep going down the list here. So what are some other stablecoins that you might be interested in? For this, I'm going to add crypto-backed stablecoins back in. Reason being is that the third, fourth, and fifth largest stablecoins, Athena USDE, DAI, and Sky Dollar, are all crypto-backed. And these all have tokens associated with them. In fact, DAI and USDS are the same token. Those are both affiliated with MakerDAO, which is now rebranded as Sky. And so by investing in MakerDAO, which combined has $8.4 billion of stablecoin market cap, you are getting exposure to upside from stablecoins. And you can see here that DAI is growing. It's grown 11% in the past month, which is no joke. That's $456 million of supply growth in just 1 month. Athena also has a token, and Athena has a second stablecoin as well. So combined, you're looking at around $6 billion of stablecoins for Athena. And Athena, again, you can also invest in it through the ENA token. Now, the problem with these is that once we get regulatory clarity, it's possible that these crypto-backed stablecoins may find themselves non-compliant. And some of them that offer yield may also find that as a point of non-compliance, since that was one of the original things that wasn't allowed in the stablecoin bill that's currently being delayed in the Senate. That being said, these are probably the most straightforward ways to invest in stablecoins if you're interested in that. Some other less conventional ways that you could bet on this growth. One would be PayPal, because PayPal has their own stablecoin. It's just small right now. I know I didn't mention PayPal earlier. That's because this news is older, but nearly $1 billion market cap on their stablecoin. If PayPal were to go heavier into the stablecoin space, as they're probably well positioned to do, then I could see a scenario where this grows substantially. And then another one would be Robinhood, right? Robinhood is using stablecoins to power its weekend settlements. Robinhood is a standout player in fintech, and there's a lot of other things they're doing recently to lean into the crypto markets as well. And so they're maybe a bit of a dark horse in terms of this sector, but I could see a scenario where Robinhood becomes a major player in the years to come. If you want more DeFi and crypto analysis like this, check out my newsletter, newsletter.dynamodefi.com. Every Monday, and sometimes more frequently, I send out the latest on-chain analysis, opportunities, readings, and more in the crypto markets. And if you want to see more videos like this one, be sure to like and subscribe. Until next time, this is Dynamo DeFi.